Fashion Emergency Hotline.
Help! I got rid of all my clothes.
Breathe and explain.
During Fashion Week, everyone looked fantastic, so I decided I needed a new wardrobe.
Well, strut to Old Navy.
Old Navy?
Yes, they have gorgeous floral tops and super on-trend pixie pants to turn your sidewalk into a catwalk. And right now, pixie pants are just $25.
$25?
Yep. Right now, pants and tops at Old Navy are 30 to 50% off.
30 to 50% off? Amazing. Thank you.
Don't thank me. Thank Old Navy. Valid 9/15 to 9/23. Excludes denim and active pants.
Blog Talk Radio.
Coffee shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course, Miss Bionic Woman Raine S Love is with us again tonight. How are you doing, honey?
I'm dancing.
Uh-huh.
I'm awesome, and I'm excited about tonight too.
Mhm. We've got a lovely guest with a really cool product on, so she'll be on in a little bit. I really like it. We're going to be talking about karma cards. I've used this for probably the past few days, so this has been kind of fun. But, we have to cover some hot topics and just a real quick news bulletin. Those that watch my YouTube channel, or maybe we talked about it on this show, me breaking the law in Parkersburg, West Virginia by doing readings there one weekend.
Yeah.
Well, the city council finally has removed that discriminating ordinance, and now it'll be legal. So you guys will be seeing me in Parkersburg, West Virginia a lot more often, thanks to Ms. Heather Hawthorne, who will be joining Psychic.biz. She may already be up there, if not, but she's the lady that went in there and really fought and got this together and got us moving with this. So that's good. And there were some other interesting appearances popping up around the country. Rainey, I hate clowns.
I never really used to hate clowns, but, between horror movies and some of the things that I've been seeing in the news lately about clowns and scaring little kids, apparently we've had that. Probably some of you have heard about this. We've had some unusual sightings in various states throughout the country, which include Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, even California, to name a few. Clown sightings, and there have been some sightings about clowns, trying to lure young children into the woods, either with money or candy, and it's kind of scary. They haven't caught anybody, but of course, the public authorities are a little bit concerned, and now they're even saying, hey, this is really ought to stop. You could also be subject to some charges here.
Good.
And this has been actually going on for a few weeks, and it's kind of leaving people a little bit uncomfortable. The strange thing to me is that they haven't found anybody, especially in some of those areas like Georgia and the Carolinas, because they've got some very specific areas where they have seen them more than once. And they haven't managed to find anybody. But, these are someone definitely dressed up as a clown. And, not really sure whether they're calling it a prank, but I'd say I wouldn't trust the fact that they're trying to lure children into the woods. That would be something that would be a little scary to me. And, I would think that would even give an adult nightmares.
Well, I think that we need to go back to teaching stranger danger in schools. And I personally think that clowns should have to, these people should be arrested for a number of reasons. Trying to bribe children, talk to children. If you are not their parent, you shouldn't be dealing with children, especially dressed up as a clown costume. Because I'm sorry, Stephen King's It done it for me. I was done. I don't like sewer drains, and I don't like clowns. And, I've been known for this. I, will ban you from my page if I see clowns. Sorry. They're like dolls. I don't care for dolls either. And this is just awful. Yeah. But do you think I kind of think it's one or two things. I think that it's a publicity stunt.
Well, what would they be? What would be the purpose of it, though, if you think about it? Because
I think
for someone who is actually in the clown business, it's affecting their business.
I bet you within 6 months there will be some movie released about clowns and some serial killer clown thing popping up. But this is taking it a little bit too far. It's kind of like when the latest Resident Evil movie came out in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, that vehicle they have was all over the news of being on the road. The infection response vehicles that they used in the movies. The studio took out and started driving us down the road through middle downtown. Can you imagine that? You see this big federal-looking, infection control, the big bio things and looking all scary, driving through your town. That was a publicity stunt from Universal. I'm wondering if this isn't a publicity stunt from another company. But clowns, go away.
I never actually thought about it from that perspective. I'm not saying that it couldn't be. However, it is getting a little serious when you are scaring kids.
Very much so. And,
and then you think about the woods. That's not something that's going to make anybody feel very comfortable. The odd thing is that they haven't been able to catch anybody.
It is quite odd. I mean, I know that our police forces are stretched, but they maybe need to step it up. To catch these people and to put a stop to this crap. I mean, we got enough crazy creeps running around not in clown costumes.
True. This is true. Well, I certainly hope that they find, they always find the answer. They always find out who it is. Mm-hmm. Just the scary thing is, when you're dealing with kids, that's a little scary.
Yeah. You should not be targeting children for your publicity.
Yes. That's a little scary. Joke's over.
Mm-hmm. Way over.
Hopefully.
It was over before you put on the clown white, okay?
Right.
There's a student stuck out, a British artist being stuck out to sea.
Yeah, I know.
Poor thing.
Never thought about it. Yeah. Never thought about it, and first of all, there's an article we read with regard to a student who had gotten an internship on a boat to kind of go out there and explore. Apparently, this is something that, they allow so many, young aspiring artists to apply for and kind of go out there and venture the world a little bit and kind of, get connected. And this artist, had an opportunity to go on one of these internships on this boat. And we have these problems, with certain boats who are bringing in products, say, for example, bringing in products into the United States. And how do you say it? Is it Hannock? Is that how you say it, Aeson?
Hannock is the company that folded.
Right. They owe a lot of money, haven't paid the money, and now they're not allowed to go into international waters.
No, they're not allowed to go into international ports.
Right. Yeah. And so now what's happened here is you have people like this young student who are stuck out there. You know, and her internship was supposed to be 23 days. She's a little past days now. Not really sure how long she's going to be stuck out there. So this was kind of unusual article. I'd never, thought about something like that. What do you do with people when, the boats are not allowed to actually come into the ports?
Right. Or, and what's on this ship, it isn't like anything. It isn't just like this big ship with nothing on it. It's fully loaded with cargo. Bound for Japan. Right. Can't go into Japan. The company that owns the ship has now gone bankrupt, and she's stuck there. Yeah. And, what was it? Around the world in 88 days, I think it was. Yeah. The guy, done this. He hopped on because you can book passage on any ship. And a cheap way to travel by ship is to hop onto these cargo ships. Granted, it's not Class A, top-of-the-line traveling, but you can book passage on there. And I'm thinking that she's not the only one stuck there, because you got your crew and everything else, but they can't go anywhere. They can't go to America. They can't go to Japan. They can't go to the Virgin Islands. They're just stuck out to port. I'd be a little upset if my stuff was on there.
And they only have, so much, food and supplies as well.
Yeah, it's only for a couple of weeks, because normally they're out to sea for 2 weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Rainey, if this was you, would you be, paging a helicopter?
I'm sure the woman has probably already tried this at this point. Based on the article, it sounds to me like she was trying what she could do to get herself off of this boat, but was not having any success. Yes, as a matter of fact, I would have paged a helicopter. I would have, went in and, maybe done some energy work to try to tap into somebody and say, come get me.
And here's a bigger question for you. Would you have took this internship? I personally would have took the internship. I think it sounds really cool to hop on a cargo vessel and go sailing around the world.
I don't know, okay, because I've never exactly, and maybe it's because I haven't experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
I have never exactly had the desire to really go on a boat, out in the middle of the ocean. Perhaps I'll take a cruise someday and change my mind. But, I always hear about cruises and people getting sick. So I'm not really of that mindset. I can appreciate it, but I don't know if I would or not. But that's just me.
Yeah, I would. And yes, I will be booking a cruise. It'll be a theme cruise. I want to go to the Mediterranean. I want to do Alaska. Because they have psychic cruises, which I think is totally cool. And I've thought about working them. Where you hop on a boat, and it's like you go out for 2 weeks on a paid vacation, but you do readings the whole time you're on the cruise. I think that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. That would be very awesome. We should, make that something we should put on our bucket list to do together.
Honey, my bucket list has been moved up. It's now a suitcase list. It overflowed the bucket. I had to get a steamer trunk.
I know, but you would certainly put me at the top of your list. I have no doubt.
Oh, yes. After I get, if I get an option to book an event in Denver, I'm coming out there, and you're cooking all weekend.
I could do that.
Yeah. Because I'm going to Canada in October.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. Are you
I'll be
excited
at the
about
Ottawa.
that?
Oh, I'm totally excited. I'll be at the Ottawa Body, Mind, and Spirit Expo. Me and one of the other co-hosts, Sonia, will be up there. And Psychic Jen, we've had her on a show before. She'll be up there. And I believe it is the 14th through the 16th of October. So if you're in Canada, come out and see me. I'd love to meet you. I'll be doing readings, so if you want an in-person reading, that would be great. If not, I'd love to just say, hi, how are you? How you enjoy the show? That type of thing. Look very much forward to it. Well, darling, we have a really cool guest with an interesting thing. You know, normally we get authors, and I love bringing authors on. But this one's brought out something a little bit more different.
Yes.
It's called Amazing Karma Cards. And I really like them. I've kind of put a few on some cards that haven't been that nice. They've been the bad karma cards. But let's bring her on. It's Tipton, Karma Bar. She's going to be telling us about them today. Okay. Hi.
Hi. Delighted to be with you.
Delighted to have fun with your cards. They've been so interesting, and I like them. Can you explain the concept with them?
Well, at amazingkarma.com, we base our entire website on the philosophy of karma as the non-religious concept of what goes around comes around. And we're all human. We all make mistakes. So when you screw up, take personal responsibility, own your actions, make amends, and move ahead. And that's what the karma cards are for.
And it makes it a little bit easier, too.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
You know, so the word karma gets used a lot in Buddhism and Hindu, yet you say they're non-religious ideas. How do you fit that in? Because, you know, everyone passes this word of karma around like, you know, sliced bread.
Well, I think karma is more an energy than a religious concept. We've all known the person who walks into a room and sucks the energy right out of it. They're sucking the good, positive energy out, and we also know that charismatic person who brings the energy in with them, and everybody just lights up. I think karma is a force, and I understand that it is part of some Eastern religions, but it transcends that. It affects everybody.
And it does tie into, like, the rule of three for your Indo-European culture. You know, everyone's always on Facebook and everything going, where's Lady Karma? You know, our old wait to that karma comes back. So you kind of give them a card that says, you earned a bad karma or you earned good karma. And I like that idea. Do you think that you should give the red card in person, or should you hand it to leave it anonymously?
Well, first of all, let me explain to your listeners that there are two kinds of karma cards. You have them, obviously. I actually packed your order and sent it out myself about a month ago. The green karma cards are used for recognizing acts of kindness, honesty, or courtesy. The red karma cards, conversely, are for exposing acts of dishonesty, discourtesy, that sort of thing. The red karma cards, you really just have to use a little common sense and assess the situation. I have left a number of them under windshield wipers, but we have handed them to people in person. It's just a question of approaching them politely and nicely and not being hostile and saying, here, you're a jerk, here's a red karma card. There are ways to do it. I mean, for heaven's sakes, don't get into a fist fight over a little red plastic card. That sort of defeats the purpose now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I have to ask you a question.
Please.
When you hand somebody a red karma card, and I have no doubt that you probably go in there and, say it nicely, what kind of responses have you actually gotten from people?
Well, I actually have a great story about that. Not too long ago, my husband and I were going out to lunch at a local restaurant, and parked out in front of this restaurant was this beautiful car. Now, I don't know from cars. I'm assuming it was a Ferrari. My husband will probably correct me later. Bright yellow, just gorgeous. And my husband walked up to the owner of the car, who was about to get in and drive away, and is admiring the car. But it's parked across 1.5 parking spaces. You know how that goes.
Right.
And after, being civil and happy and enjoying the conversation, my husband asked him, I do have to ask you, why did you park your car like this when in the back of the lot there are plenty of wide, shady spots? He said, well, it's a brand new car. I don't want to get it scratched. Well, yeah, we understand that. It is a beautiful car, but those spots in the back, they're wide, they're shady. Why did you park like this? Well, I just did. And very politely, my husband said, I'm sorry, sir, I'm going to have to give you a red karma card. Now, the gentleman took it and read it, and this is not confrontational, it's not hostile. The wording on the back of the card actually starts out, uh-oh, you received this karma card for performing an act of unkindness, discourtesy, or dishonesty. Well, the gentleman stands there for a moment, and he reads it, and he looks at us, and I'll clean this up a little bit. He just said, screw karma. And he flings the card across the lot, gets in his car, and drives away. Okay, these things happen. So we go into the restaurant, and we order our lunch, and as we're waiting for the food, we see this unmistakable car drive back into the lot. This time he pulls into one of those wide, shady spots in the back, and he gets out of his car, and he is crawling around on his hands and knees, looking under other cars in the parking lot until he found that red karma card. And then he got back in his car and drove away. That's the last we heard of him.
Oh, my goodness.
Exactly. It's all in the approach. No hostility, very polite. You have to maintain other people's dignity. If I've left a couple under windshield wipers, as I've said, or stuck in door handles, you just have to assess the situation. That's all. It's a much more pleasant task to hand out the green karma cards.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
Is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. So what are karma points, and how do people earn them? How does that work?
That's very, very simple, and I'm glad you asked. When anybody registers a karma card, whether it's a green card or a red card, each card has a unique registration code on it. You will be awarded a positive karma point. Now, when you give that card to somebody else and they register it in a free account at amazingkarma.com, they get a point, and so do you. When they pass it on to somebody else, the points just keep accruing backwards geometrically for as long as that card is in transit. Now, when a certain level of karma points have been achieved, you can choose to do one of two things with them. They will be transferred into Karma Cash, which can either be used for any gift certificate from any retailer on the planet who offers it, or what we're hoping more people will do, that Karma Cash will be donated in your name to any registered 501c charity on Earth. So it's just good.
Mm-hmm. And
I
it just
like
keeps
that.
building, and it does a lot of good. So it has an app. How does the app work?
Well, the app is available for Android and for Apple. You can make your own free account. You can register karma cards. You can request karma cards. And I do want to say we are giving away these karma cards absolutely free. Now, not mean free with plus shipping and handling. Free, no cost, until we've given away at least 500,000 of them. And I'd like to make an offer to your listeners. As you know, I slipped a few extra ones in your packet. I knew who you were, and I wanted to make a good impression.
I'd be using them.
Exactly. So normally when somebody requests their free karma cards, we'll send out 40. But if your listeners tell me that they heard about AmazingKarma.com on your show, I'll give them 60 cards for free.
Wow.
Wow. Cool. Thank you very much.
No, I'm delighted to do it, and it's all free. Registration is free. The cards are free. No hidden charges. It's all free. We just want to get the good karma spread around as quickly as possible.
Right, and with that, you're able to benefit a lot of charities because all you're doing is handing out a card, and that card then gets registered. It goes through, and once they build it up, they can do a lot of good with that. What are some of the charity? You covered 501c. Can you kind of name a few charities for our listeners? Because we do have a lot of listeners who are involved to a lot, so this might be something they want to pick up too, to go along with their charities.
Oh my goodness! Any registered 501c charity. We don't have a list. We will donate to any appropriately registered charity. Doesn't even have to be in the United States, as long as they are registered correctly here.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Any charity.
Do you find that most people, I mean, I can imagine that they would, but do you find that most people actually would prefer to donate to the charity as opposed to getting prizes?
That's been our experience so far,
yeah.
and we're hoping to continue that because just the act of giving a karma card, it makes you feel good, it makes the recipient feel good. How often you see somebody doing a small kindness, like maybe helping somebody with some groceries in their car, and you stand on the sidelines and you smile, but you don't interact with them. This is a gentle, non-confrontational way to walk over and just hand them a card with a smile, which lets them know you did a good thing and I recognized it. And everybody feels good. It encourages that person not only to do another good act, but to look for people doing goodness and kindness. It's like any other muscle. The more you flex it, the stronger it gets. And then one of the fun things you can do at AmazingKarma.com is you can go back every day and go to our mapping program. When a card is registered, we map the area code in which it was registered. So you can see how far your card has traveled, how many hands it has passed through, how many good deeds have been acknowledged and recognized, just beginning with your act of recognizing one. And you give a card away today to somebody who's traveling to England tomorrow. They give it to somebody who's traveling to Scandinavia, who gives it to somebody who's traveling back to California. It's just a lot of fun to follow the progress.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, when you're mapping it, do people also get to state, maybe what the good deed was, or is that not part of the app?
Oh, no, we absolutely encourage people to post stories of why they gave a green card or even why they gave a red card. But the green cards just they just generate such good feeling. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. It's a little bit like paying it forward, too, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
But it's just a little card that's recognizing good and exposing bad.
So how can parents and grandparents influence their kids and grandkids to use this concept?
Well, actually, children as young as 4, we found out, understand the concept of the cards. They absolutely get it. I truly believe the children are hardwired to do the right thing. And this whole concept is based on a game we played with our kids when they were growing up to teach them right from wrong. If you do something good, particularly without being asked, like if you set the table without being asked, that's a good thing. The universe will grant you a positive karma point for that. If you continue to harass your sister, I guarantee you that the universe and mom is going to debit you a karma point.
Mm-hmm.
So when enough karma points had been accrued, a small treat at the end, nothing big. But
Right.
it can actually become a competition between children to see who can do the most good. And you can actually reward children for tattling on their siblings, for finding their siblings doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So
Correct.
it's a fun way, and the kids completely get it. It's just so simple.
Not only that, but with them, being able to do good and then do bigger good with it, and they can actually trade cards out like, sister folded the laundry for me, here's one of my good karma cards. You can get passed back and forth then.
Exactly so. And it really trains children not just to do the right thing, but to look for good. And that's something we've forgotten how to do. We're bombarded with negativity. News means bad news. Mm-hmm. We don't listen and look for the small acts of goodness and kindness and courtesy that are actually all around us. And the more you look for it, the more you find it, the more you find it, the more you reward it, the more you reward it. It just keeps going on.
Right.
Yeah, and we do often forget to... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, honey.
Say something. Do you also find, because I notice that with families sometimes, we don't always show our family, like, for example, say your husband comes in and he does the dishes, and it's not something he normally does. And you're so mad at him because he doesn't normally do anything that you're not acknowledging that he's doing the dishes. Sometimes we forget. I know. Such a good example, right? And so instead of acknowledging or going, oh, wow, he did the dishes, that's really cool. I've only been asking him for the last 20 years, but he finally did it, Sometimes we forget to pay attention and thank those who are closest to us because we're so aggravated by what they don't do that when they do it, we kind of don't acknowledge it. I would think that this would help to make you be a little bit more conscientious of that.
Well, I haven't actually used them in that manner, but I think you're absolutely right.
Sorry, I just had to bring that one. I just had...
I need to go give my husband a green karma card for installing the washing machine yesterday. I mean, I said thank you, but still.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So what made you guys take on this project? Because, we're not hearing prices. We're not hearing that it costs this to do it or that. What brought on this project?
Well, the genesis of it was a few years ago, and it's all because I love fried chicken. It is. It's true. We were down at Knott's Berry Farm on a gloomy June day because I love Knott's fried chicken. And the park was packed. We couldn't find a parking space anywhere. And about on our fourth lap around the parking lot, my husband just turned to me and laughed and said, why don't we each cash in 50 karma points for a good parking space? I said, yeah, sure, whatever. Next lap around, I wish I was making this up. The clouds parted, a ray of sunshine came down, and there is a parking spot not just in front of the restaurant, but in front of the big chicken in front of the restaurant. And if you don't believe me, there is a picture of me in front of that chicken on that day on our website. So we're laughing, and we go in and we have our lunch, and we spend that lunchtime scribbling on napkins saying, what can we do with this? And that's how the idea of the karma cards and the website was born.
Mm-hmm. I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful.
Totally awesome.
And then,
now,
if you think
you're in film, and you've won some awards for Heart of the Beholder?
That's correct.
What's that about?
Oh, Heart of the Beholder is the true story of my husband's family. He was a very successful video dealer in St. Louis, Missouri, and his family was ruined by a group with the wonderfully oxymoronic name of the National Federation for Decency. They wanted him to take specific movies out of his stores that they didn't approve of, and he refused on the simple grounds that people have the right to decide for themselves what they want to watch.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to give you a lot of spoilers, but what they did was horrific. And the movie is available on Netflix and Amazon and a number of streaming platforms. It's extraordinarily well written, if I say so. When my husband and I met a long time ago, he handed me a script, And I thought, here goes the end of a promising relationship. But I've read thousands of bad scripts over my 40-year career. This one was so good. I signed on immediately as a producer, and it took us a number of years and a lot of ups and downs, but we finally got it made, and it went on to win more Best Feature Film Awards on the independent film circuit than any other film ever. And also, the little girl in the film who plays daughter Laura, she has a different name in the film, we discovered her. You may have heard of her. Her name is Chloe Grace Moretz. And she is now the hottest young actress in Hollywood, and she is just a sweetheart and so talented.
Wow. And, that's on streaming, and I think it's a really important movie to go watch for a number of reasons. But one is, some of these groups, and granted, we had this a lot in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And then it kind of died out in the 80s, and it died out in the 90s, and now we're getting back into it again. Focus on the family, and we've got, that one running around. Of course, this show's all-time favorite, the one time that they heard Aeson lose his lid, is Westboro. And, I had to buy a new tongue ring over them. But, these groups just do awful things. They're not there to actually improve anything. So I hear you got another one coming up. You're working on something new? Well,
our next film project is on ageism in Hollywood because it is such a prevailing problem. My company tried to fire me before I turned 55 so they wouldn't have to invest me with the benefits that would happen. A president of one of the cable networks came to my defense and said, "You cannot fire her." Well, that kind of put me on the boss's radar because she really wanted to get rid of me. And a few years later, when Malaysia Flight 370 went down, I wanted to do something for the families because I knew they were in terrible pain. They didn't know what had happened, and in any case, they'd be in litigation for years. So I was trying to put together a charitable endeavor for these families. And just a mental hiccup, I sent out one of my emails on the subject on my company email server. Well, people use the company email server all the time for personal use, but this became an aha moment, and they fired me. Well, I sued them for wrongful termination and used the funds to set up AmazingKarma.com.
Oh, wow.
So what goes around comes around.
Yeah. And that's a really good thing to do. I mean, I think that's very admirable with you because you could have just retired with it and went over and, enjoyed Fiji.
Well, this is going to be our family's legacy. AmazingKarma.com, I hope, will make the world at least a slightly better place when I leave it than when I got here. And this will be my major project for the rest of my life. I'll continue doing everything else. I can't really sit too still. But this I want to be the legacy.
Now, I'm going to say your daughter, your children, they're in St. Louis. They taught them both importance on entertainment lessons. Can you describe what the project was and how volunteering boosts their karma quota? Or
I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what you're asking. My kids are actually grown and they're scattered all over the U.S. now. So,
okay. It was kind of pointed at your husband Ken, but they were a national spotlight for a project they did.
Oh, this was a number of years ago when the flood of the century hit St. Louis, Missouri. And they were going down, they were helping people, and they were making little souvenir items. There's one on top of my husband's desk right now. It's got flood water and the Arch, the St. Louis Arch, and they were selling them and giving the monies to charity.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys have done a lot to bring up the karma in the world, help a lot of people out.
Well, almost so many people, you can sit around and complain, but how much do you actually need in life other than a roof over your head, food to eat, and clothing? So you don't need a gazillion dollars. Why not use what you have to help others?
Right.
Exactly.
And sometimes those doors, like you were talking about your job, sometimes those doors close so you can go on and do better and greater things too, it sounds like.
Absolutely. I truly, truly believe that what goes around comes around. And it may not come around in the way you expect, but it will always come around.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know that for me, sometimes, challenging things have come in and it's like, why is this happening? And Ace and I have even talked about a lot of that stuff sometimes on our shows. And then all of a sudden, it might be 2 or 3 years later, it might be 6 months, it might be a week, who knows? But you're going, now I get why I had to go through that experience.
Exactly so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes the major stresses in our life are just pushing us back onto the right path.
Right. And getting us refocused. And, the story of the fried chicken, I think that's so inspirational because things great ideas come out of the, divine stepping in going, oh, why don't you try this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, karma, it's finger licking good.
Yeah, but you know what?
You need that as a t-shirt.
Yeah, but we have become, society so much of the time now is everything's rush. I want it now. We're so caught up in technology and phones and internet that quite often, I know when I go out in public, sometimes just getting somebody to respond to you when you're saying hello can be a real challenge these days. Or they're looking at you like, you said hello to me? What's wrong with you?
What planet did you fall out of?
And so we've really become disconnected. And I think this is a really wonderful way to come back and get connected with people,
And it is. And as I say, it's so gentle, non-confrontational. You can give either a red card or a green card with a smile. You don't have to get in somebody's face. It's just that little gentle reminder that you did something wrong. And I also didn't explain that if you get a red card, say you're the one who is parked diagonally across 3 handicapped parking spaces, and you come out to your car and you find that I slipped a red card under your windshield wiper. Yeah. If you look at that card and you say, yeah, she's right, I was a jerk, and you take that to our website and you register that red karma card, that means you've taken responsibility for your actions. You're making amends. You're moving ahead. So you're going to get a positive karma point for doing the right thing, acknowledging your actions and taking personal responsibility. So on our website, there are no negative points. If you do the right thing, you're going to get a positive point.
I like that because I was going to ask you, because I'm a firm believer of there's always got to be an opportunity to turn things around. We're always redeemable. So I was going to ask you about the red card if there was something that they could do, So I'm glad to hear that. But you know what? Also going there, maybe they don't initially understand, but when they go there, it's like, oh, this is something a little bit different. Maybe this is something I need to think about.
Exactly. That's just what it's about, is just making you think and being a little more aware of your own actions, good and bad. We're human. As much as I like to think I am, I'm not perfect, and I could probably hear my husband roll his eyes if he wasn't if he was in the room with me. But we're all human. It's how you handle the things that happen in life. And taking personal responsibility is just something that seems to have vanished into society. I'm not really sure why, but I'd like to encourage people to bring that back. You don't have to, fall on your sword. Just do the right thing.
Right.
Take
right.
responsibility.
And sometimes, and even, people do, like I say, we're definitely going through some changes in our society right now, and people don't often take responsibility, and then another thing is sometimes they'll say, I'm sorry, but.
Uh-huh, yes.
Well, I'm sorry, but isn't really taking responsibility, Sometimes you just blow it.
Well, there's actually a lot of power that people don't realize in saying, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Yes.
Right. It's incredible power. It's incredible, and I myself have had a few experiences. I've had many experiences where people will come back and say, I'm sorry, but, or they fall on their sword. But I've only had maybe 2 or 3 experiences in my life where someone has come and said, I'm really sorry, I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the most valuable interactions because it was true and authentic,
Well,
and I think it was,
Maybe through the use of red karma cards, we can train more people to that kind of thinking. I'd like to think so. I hope so.
Yeah, I know so. And, the green cards, I like that there's no negative points with this, but it gets people involved. It gets them thinking about their actions, because we live in such a world now that is so disconnected from everyday life. Most people go to the office, they sit down in the office, they stick into a computer, they don't talk to their coworkers, they go home, they eat up a TV dinner, or they cook a dinner, they interact with their little circle, and then they repeat it the next day, and really don't, kind of walk through life with blinders on.
That's exactly right. This is why at AmazingKarma.com we want to encourage people to just open their eyes to all the good people, the good acts, the positivity there is around them. If you're having a bad day, I guarantee you the best way to make yourself feel better is start looking for somebody who's doing something good and kind, particularly for a stranger, for no reward, and you're going to feel better just seeing that. And now you have a little green card that empowers you to do something about it.
Mm-hmm. I do have one product suggestion, though.
Yes?
Can we get a license plate scanner for the app so that we can just scan the license plate and send them a green or a red card?
You're laughing, but we actually have something similar in the works. Our tech elves are working on something like that even as we speak.
Wonderful, because, I'm telling you, granted, I live in the mountains, and it's not big city driving, but there are some drivers that, should be sent like 5 green cards for getting you out of that stuck area, or, that way it's kind of a little bit more mobile for us. But I'm glad to hear that that's actually growing, and, that'll be happening soon.
We have big plans for the future, not just expanding the tech on it, but we're developing a Karma Clap and Karma Slap awards for individuals and organizations who truly deserve it. For example, there's an organization that cares for the pets of deployed service people. That's a wonderful thing to do. They would definitely be somebody who'd be Karma Clap eligible. I suspect the first Karma Slap award will go to Congress, and then we'll work from there.
Let me know when that comes out, because I've got a list for you.
We will be happy to add your suggestions to our already quite lengthy list.
Yeah.
I just think it's a wonderful idea.
I think it's totally awesome.
Because we really. Go ahead.
I love that you can You don't. It's not big and fancy. Yeah, there's an app and there's a website, but you don't have to, go through 40 different things to sign up. It's a really simple sign up, snap, done, download, move forward, add the card, move forward, and pass the card along.
That's it. That's the entire process. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the other thing. For someone to take that card, go on the app, look it up, and see where that card is going. I really like that. I think that's fun.
Well, it is fun.
Yeah. Can you imagine taking your kids or your grandkids on a road trip, and you start off with your little karma cards, and you're going in different cities and passing out cards, and just along the way you're tracking it and just kind of seeing what happens. That could just be like a wonderful, fun, summer project, or, just, a family thing. There's so many things that you could do with this.
Exactly. And, you don't have to save them for the person who pulls somebody out of a burning car. You can give them to anybody. You can give them to somebody who gave you good service in a restaurant, or the checker at the supermarket who greeted you with a smile. Just something good, small, and kind that you want to encourage.
Mm-hmm. Very much so, and you can get it to grow. So give our listeners the address again for them to get their card, and maybe a little bit on how to do the app.
Absolutely. The website is amazingkarma.com, all one word, .com, Amazing Karma. The apps are available at the Google Store and at iTunes. The apps are free. The download is free. The cards are free. The account is free. We will actually shortly be coming out with an ebook, which will not be free, but it will be cheap, called, I always stumble over this title, so please forgive me, Karma Sense, How to Increase Your Personal Karma Quotient and Enhance Your Quality of Life. Oh, it made it. And it has over 100 just simple, easy, everyday things you can do to make the world, your world, our world, a slightly better, happier, warmer, brighter place.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Yeah.
Wonderful. And, we'll have to have you back on when the book comes out, because that'll be really cool, because, people get so caught up in the bad karma, they don't think of all the good karma they did.
Exactly. As I said, we're bombarded with negative. That's how we are socialized to think. We're looking for the bad everywhere, when the good is actually bombarding us, and we're just not paying attention to it.
Right. And there's so many little things that you can do. One thing that I like to try to do, because I've noticed that when I do it, you start getting a positive response from people, especially if you say you've got the grumpy neighbor, okay? Everybody has a grumpy neighbor, okay?
Yes.
And you just come on up and just, every time you see that neighbor, you're always authentic. You never lie, but you always find one good thing to say to them, like, your hair looks really nice today, or I like that yellow tie you're wearing. It has to be truthful, but it has to be positive and authentic. And you'll start to notice that neighbor starts to change their energy and their behavior. I would like to think anyway that that's a good way to be spreading that good karma energy.
That is an excellent way, and you're right, it works. It takes a little effort on your part, not a lot, but it does work, and it reaps its own reward. You will be so happy with the results. You start practicing that. You're going to make your neighbor a better person. You're going to make yourself a better person. You're going to make your neighborhood better, because this person is going to become a nicer person.
And then the next thing you know, the neighbor's running up to you going, hi, how you doing today? And they're waiting for their I call it cookie. They're waiting for their cookie.
But there's always something, yes.
Yeah, but, but those are the things that I think sometimes we've really gotten out of the habit of. We're just getting caught up in our own little world. But you know what? People need to hear stuff like that sometimes. Sometimes maybe they're grumpy because they don't think anybody cares, and they can't find it within themselves. So maybe you could be helpful in helping them to find that.
It works with strangers as well. Say you're in a store, and the clerk is grumpy or grouchy or whatever. I know at one time I just looked over at her and she was kind of scowling. I said, "You have the most beautiful eyelashes," and she just, "Oh, yeah, oh, thank you." And then it was just a 180 on her attitude and her demeanor, and that cost me nothing. It was true. She had obviously cared a great deal about her appearance. Why not make her feel good? And it's just a good thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and it changed your attitude.
Yes.
Well, you know what? You have just been a pleasure. I just love the joy in your heart. I think this is a wonderful thing that you're doing, and just the opportunity to kind of for all of us to participate in change, and maybe kind of think about the world a little bit differently. And I'm just pleased that you came and spent some time with us this evening.
Well, thank you for having me. I've had a blast.
Yeah, it's been really awesome to have you on. Come back with the ebook because we will have fun with that. Really, guys, go out, get the karma cards, start using them. The reactions you get from people is amazing on the good ones and even the bad ones. It's like, I called you on your stuff. Well, good night, darling.
Good night. Thank you so much.
You're
welcome.
Good
night. It was a pleasure. Stay blessed.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Wow, we went through the show fairly quickly tonight. We didn't get any calls in. Sorry. That's okay. Tomorrow, no, is it tomorrow? No. It is Sunday. Divine Angel will hopefully be back. She's been recovering on her cloud, and I'm sure she'll have some real good meditations for you. And we will be probably Miracles in Real Time will be on Mondays, and we're moving that to 11 a.m. So that you guys can get in there during the daytime. We're going to have a few more daytime shows too. But also remember that if you guys would like to reach us for readings, you can do so over at psychic.biz. Their current coupon code is summer16, and you get $5 free. And since you are a valued listener of ours, please use the coupon code COFFEE and get $10 free. And if you are in the Ashland, Kentucky area, I will be at Avalon's on Saturday. I'm going to be doing a class called The Psychic Being, and that will be at 7 p.m. It is a $10 class. It's a real cheap class, but it's also, you're going to get a reading there. I currently don't have any openings, but you can contact them. And if there is an opening, they can fit you guys in. Raine, are you doing anything this week, or are you still under recovery and trying to learn how to use your lasso?
Yeah, I am still working on learning how to use my lasso. I'm still recovering, getting a little bit better. I do have an event that I'm going to on Saturday. However, it's not psychic related, so but I am at least getting out of the house. Does that count?
Well, good. I'm glad that have you tried the invisible jet yet?
No, but you know what? I was checking out the doors and the windows today, and I was thinking maybe I'd like to get some, like neon green, trim around them. What do you think?
That would make it a little bit easier to get into.
Yeah, I wanted a little bit of color, maybe a little green and purple.
Ooh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Well, guys, you guys have a great week, and I'll see a lot of you guys in Kentucky, and we'll be back next week. And next week, I think it's going to be Psychic Roundtable, so we'll be doing calls all week, all show. All right, guys. Have a great
Have a
night.
wonderful week.
Good night,
Goodbye.
Rainey.
Good night, Aeson.
Are you at a crossroads in your life? Or are you feeling stuck and not sure where to turn? We can help. Visit our website at psychic.biz from your computer, smartphone, or tablet, where you can get accurate readings and insight by speaking with any one of our tested advisors. We offer live chat, video sessions, one-on-one phone calls, and even email readings. We have several gifted psychics, tarot readers, astrologers, and other healers from around the world who are available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Your initial chat is always free, and our psychics do offer special prices and low per-minute rates. Visit us today at psychic.biz and get the guidance you need today for your tomorrow.
You're listening to The Magic Happens Radio Network, sponsored by The Magic Happens magazine. You'll find us at www.themagichappens.com.